Welcome everyone to our daily Forex market analysis call, and this is in preparation for trading on December 7th, 2017. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, so we will take a look at our calendar first. All right, so the big thing today, one, we had ADP non-farm employment numbers, which are considered to be precursor to our non-farm payroll that comes out this Friday. So these came in line with expectations, so no major change here. The next big thing was Bank of Canada rate statement. So essentially, Bank of Canada was not hawkish. They were actually, they basically said that they are not, basically the forecast was, excuse me, so today they kept it at 1%, and there is rising employment and participation rates. However, Bank of Canada is concerned. So they are uncertain about what the economy will look like coming up in 2018, and also they are concerned about oil prices. Oil is a major export for Canada, and excuse me, because of that, they're concerned about what the oil prices will look like. So that was that. And as a result of that, we saw a big drop in Canadian dollar, which means there was a huge rise in dollar CAD, and dollar CAD pushed up quite a bit. And then we had trade balance numbers out of Australia. That number was negative. As a result, we have seen Australian dollar drop. So those are the key figures that came out and the impact from them. So coming up on Thursday, we don't really have any red news in our London session, but we have unemployment numbers for Thursday. So the non-farm payroll numbers will be more important than these numbers. So just keep excuse me, keep that in mind. And then we have ECB President Draghi speaking as well. So that will have an impact on the euro. We have seen euro slide for the last over the last couple of days, and if ECB President Draghi has any comments that are considered bearish, that will not be good for euro either. So that's pretty much it. And then we have final GDP numbers for Japanese yen and home sales for Australia, as well as trade balance for China. So trade balance for China can have an impact on Australia and New Zealand, since both of those are big trade partners with China. So that's our outlook for Thursday. Now let's take a look at our charts here. All right, so we have seen pound drop, and now we are coming into an important support level at 1.3350 level here for the British pound. So this support level will be important. Overall, our bias is to the downside here based on the bearish candle close. The bias is to the downside, but 1.3350 level would be an important level to pay attention to, because if the price is not able to break this level to the downside, we could see a bounce off of that. However, the bias is to the downside. The candles are increasing in size, which shows that the momentum is to the downside. So my bias here is to the downside, and the target level here would be 1.3280 level to the downside. Looking at our 1 hour chart, as we can see, we are making lower highs, so we are pushing into this level here, and the next level is 132.80. We could go all the way down into this level here because we have this sort of inefficient move up here. But the first target is 133.50. So this is where I'm looking for a reaction. And if the price is not able to break below this level, then we could have trouble. We could see price push up higher. So that will be important. But overall, the move that I'd like to see is this. So that's the kind of move I'm looking for. 132.80 would be our target to the downside for this. Okay, so let's take a look at Euro here. Euro, we are bearish here. We have a bearish daily candle close. So now we're looking for price to move lower. So the target here would be a 1.1720 level to the downside. So we are bearish here as well, looking for price to just move lower. So this is where we are. Looks like price is bouncing off of this support and resistance level as well as the pivot point level. So the next level to target would be 1.1720 level. So this is looking bearish. So this is the level we are targeting over here, 1.1720 level. Aussie, big drop in Aussie, and then we have seen this drop here. So part of the drop was because the commodities dropped, but then also the Canadian dollar, because Canadian dollar dropped, a lot of times the move can go into other currencies as well, and so that's what's going on here. Now we are looking for a bearish move. For the bearish move, 75.35 level will be the first target, and then we are looking into 74.90 level, so about 7,500. So looking for price to drop here. So Aussie dollar is looking bearish as well. New Zealand dollar, as we were talking about, see how price is kind of coiling inside this pennant here. So now we have seen a couple of pins to the upside. So when we see these pins to the upside, that generally means that price is likely to drop, because that shows rejection. So if we take a look over here, we have 3 times price has come and tested this level and it has dropped from there. So now I'm looking for price to come and test the bottom of this pennant. So around 68.40 level. And then if things stay bearish, we could see a break of the pennant. So this will be the first move that I will be looking for. And then price to essentially break through, and then we could see price go lower. So if other commodity currencies stay bearish, then I'm looking for price to drop in this as well. So New Zealand dollar bias is to the downside. This one, we had a little pin bar here, and now looking very bullish. So looking for price to move up higher. The target here would be 1.2920. So this target to the upside. So we have this big inefficient move down, and now we are going and looking to fill this move. So looking for dollar CAD to move up higher. So bullish on that. Euro Swiss franc, it's kind of stuck in this range here. Very, very neutral, not much of a move. So not the best pair to trade here again, because it hasn't really done much. So the bias here, because of this, was towards the bottom here. Now we have a very sort of a neutral close. So if we take a look at our 1 hour, we can see that price is still sort of holding this level. I could even move it higher here, as we can see right all the way over here. So at this point, very, very neutral close, went up, went down, didn't really go anywhere. So this is, at this point, it is neutral. Yeah, so just, so let me come back to that. Pound Swiss franc. Pound Swiss franc here, this is doing a bit of a pennant formation here as well. So as we can see how price is doing one of this looks like a very, very tight pennant, and essentially we're looking for it to break to one side or the other. So either upwards or downwards. Looks like we have 3 pins here towards the bottom, which means it could go higher, but at this point it's just going sideways. So looking at the 1 hour chart, as we can see, price hasn't really done much. It's just sort of coiling, just like New Zealand dollar is coiling sideways. That's what it's doing. So not a very good indication here, we need to see price do something, so break out of this pennant before we can really do anything with it. So overall, this is neutral. Pound Swiss franc is neutral. Dollar Swiss franc is looking bullish, looking for price to move up higher. We have broken out of this trend line now, and we have broken up to the upside. So as a result, looking bullish, looking for price to move up higher. Target would be 0.9950 level. That's our target to the upside. So that is bullish. Pound CAD, big huge move to the upside here based on the dollar CAD news. Sorry, bullish here. Both of them, 2 pins to the bottom. So now we have a bullish pin bar. So looking for price to move up higher, and the target is 1.7290 level. So looking for price to move up higher. But prior to that, we could come into trouble around that area, which is 1.7180. So that will be the first target. Second target will be 1.7294. So about 1.7300 level. So looking bullish at the moment here. Pound yen. Pound yen looks bearish here, and we are currently testing this level. So bias here is to the downside. I'm looking for price to drop into this 149.30-ish level, or even lower into 149.20 level. And looking at the 1 hour here, I do like this right now. And so pivot point, it's reacting on the pivot point. So pivot points are essentially our indicator. This is one of the indicators I really like to look at. And generally when we have a downward move, price will drop, pull back into the pivot point, and then drop, pull back into the pivot point, drop, pull back into the pivot point, and drop. So pivot points are levels that I look for price to pull back into before moving into in the direction of the trend. So that's what we are looking at here. So in this case, I'm looking for price to close bearish here, and so right now, so it looks like it's holding below. So yeah, so that looks nice. I do like it. So I'm looking for price to drop here into 149.20 will be the target. And in terms of, so I'll see. We may, I may take this trade. I'm just going to look at it in a little bit, but the bias is to the downside for pound yen. Euro yen. So euro yen, we are biased to the downside here as well. We see that the price is bearish, nice bearish candle close here, looking for price to drop further. So now we are back towards the bottom of the range. So for this one, we're looking at 131.20 areas, or 26 here. So my bias is to the downside. For this one, looking at the 1 hour, as we can see, price is right into this support and resistance area. So we can maybe drop a line here. So it's into this support and resistance area, also the pivot level. So if price closes below here, we're looking for price to drop further. So bias is to the downside. Aussie yen, I really like this one. One with trade balance numbers being negative, this is bearish. And then we have a big candle close here. So I'm looking for price to drop. Target would be 84.33 level, which is the bottom here. So here's our 1 hour. So very nice bearish candle close for the 1 hour here. So I'm looking for price to drop further into this 84.30 level here. So bias is to the downside. Dollar yen. Dollar yen bias is to the downside here as well. So I'm looking for, first target will be today's low here into 112.00 level, and then we are looking for 111.60 level. So bias is to the downside. This is where the price is at the moment. So we could go a little bit higher into 112.50 level, but the bias is still to the downside. and looking for price to test into 112 area here. CAD yen, we have tweezer tops yesterday, so we had talked about this. When we get tweezer tops, chances are price is going to drop. So we saw a big drop here. So now I'm looking for price to move lower now, and the target here is 86.80 level. So the bias is to the downside for CAD yen as well. All right, so that's all I have. Any questions or anything to add? And in terms of the pivot points, there's also in the members area there, there's also should be, you know what, I will look for the pivot point webinar that we did one of the Friday session. I will post that in the Skype room. So anybody who's, wants to learn a little bit more about the pivot points, you can check that out. EuroCAD, okay. Euro Aussie is bullish. Euro CAD. Let me find a better chart here. Pound. Okay, here we go. So it looks like we are into resistance right now. So based on the daily close, looks quite bullish here. However, we are into resistance, and we'll have to see. So Canadian dollar is weak because of the fundamental news, but we also have a big inefficient move. So we'll have to wait and see. So it is bullish, but we are running into resistance. So this is our resistance level. We could go higher into this 51.60 level, back into this high here. So there is room for price to go higher. So right now we have this inefficient move, and this is where we are kind of sideways at the moment. But Canadian, Canadian dollar is weak. But if euro starts to drop and it drops across the board, then this one could drop as well. So we'll just have to see how euro performs relative to other currencies. But right now this looks bullish, and we could go higher into 1.5160 level, into this level here. So I would be cautious with EuroCAD because daily close is quite bullish. All right, any other question? Bitcoin has been going crazy. Let's see, where are we? Here's our Bitcoin. Bitcoin looking bullish. We are at on Poloniex here 13,850. So it is sort of it is quite bullish here. I was actually I needed to buy some to do some transactions here. It's been crazy. I was waiting for it to drop a bit, but it hasn't, and the volume is kind of it was low here, and I was watching it, but looks like it's pushing up. The volume is relatively high here, so it still looks bullish. So this could go higher. I'm not sure. So that I'm thinking about 15K. I'm not sure when it will get there, but it does look bullish at the moment. And I've been trying to see if it will drop, but it just hasn't. It's been making this higher highs, and is kind of, it pulls back into the moving average and then just pushes back up again. So I'd say bullish. Okay. All right. So that's it for today. So we'll call it a wrap. I will see you guys in the London session again then. Okay. Have a good night, everyone. See you shortly. Bye for now.